what conscious capitalism is, it's a movement. It started out with a book by John Mackey, the CEO of Whole Foods, and a guy named Rod Sisodia, who's a researcher. And what they did is they came together. The subtitle to conscious capitalism is Elevating Humanity Through Business. And I thought, what a good way to talk about it in 4 words. So what he did is he started this, and once they wrote a book, people said, look, we want more, we want more, we want more. So everybody's heard of Good to Great by Jim Collins, correct? Yep. So the whole premise of that book, if you remember, was to take the highest performing public companies over a period of time with certain criteria. And of course, if I'm a business, I want to achieve the same gains that they would go through as well. But what if I could tell you, you could increase by 900% the returns from your business over what the Good to Great companies got? Would that be a powerful thing for you? Well, what they found is that the conscious capitalism companies outperformed the Good to Great companies over the last 15 years from a 9-to-1 ratio. So by doing these good things, by doing the business the way it should be done, isn't a problem. It does not hurt us. It actually helps us. It helps us in business. It helps us in life. And that's what the amazing, there's no cost to doing this. Actually, there's a cost not to doing this. It's the opportunity cost. Because just a little bit about my background really quick. I started 3 international software companies, and they were enterprise software, so I'm a very analytical guy. I'm very good at the thinking. But then my life really changed when I earned what Stephen talked about, this master's in spiritual psychology. It really got me in touch with my heart. But for me, it was like I was living dual lives. So over here was this spreadsheet and PowerPoint guy, the guy that wore a tie, the guy that did all these business things. But then my other part of my life is when I went over here, and that was the meditator, the yoga doer, the surrenderer, the acceptor. And I thought they were separate, and that was a very difficult life. It was a very difficult life. And I don't know about you, but I think love is the #1 most powerful force in the world. Yes. And business is #2. About war. Just like love, it's everywhere, and you need it to exist. But I was keeping them separate. But to me, what conscious capitalism is when we take our head, and we take our heart, and we take our love, and we take our business, and we combine them. And that's why conscious capitalism resonated so much with me. I finally could keeping the 2 worlds apart don't serve anybody. It's when we bring them together that true change happens in the world. And they talk about this being the next evolution of business, and I totally see what they get now. Because everything else we have to learn as we go along. And so conscious capitalism is the mixing of business and love, business and compassion. And I'll tell you, when you mix those 2 powerful forces, amazing things happen. The first principle of conscious capitalism is to be a conscious leader. Because as we all know, whatever the leader does, then the organization will follow. So for me, as I started showing up more authentically, more in alignment, the people that weren't supposed to be part of my organization found their way out, and the people that were started to find their way in. So what are you doing? How are you showing up at work? Are you learning all the things that you learn outside of work? Are you showing up that way as a leader? That's my first question. So the second principle is to take into account all your stakeholders. For example, Greg. Greg takes into account other craft breweries. He takes into account the local community. And what happens is when you start doing that, they take care of you. It's a very symbiotic relationship, and that's why you can get these phenomenal gains as an organization. The third is to have a values-based business. Because a lot of us have this culture. Maybe we think we have a culture, but when you formalize it, then you can really put it into every little thing that you do. And again, Greg's a good example of that as well. And the fourth one, where's Malcolm? He's got to help me on this fourth one, is 1, 2, 3, conscious business, to be in business for the higher purpose. To be in business for a higher purpose, right? It's not to make money. And the funny thing what they talk about in conscious capitalism is if you chase the almighty dollar, you'll never reach it. But when you just set out to make that great shoe in the case of Nike, when you set out to make that great IPA in the case of Stone, the money follows. But all these companies that are cutthroat out there, they're not the ones making the money. I believe we have that potential. Now, if that gives you a little bit of anxiety, because it gives me a little bit of anxiety, that's probably good. If that gives you a lot of anxiety, then maybe you're not the right member for this organization. Because, you know, it's a bit of work, and it's going to take a lot of courage. And it's going to be us stepping out of our comfort zone and trying new things. But that's what being a leader is about, isn't it?